The spiral, returning to life with greater wisdom, freedom, and connection. Allow yourself to settle comfortably into this moment. Feel the support beneath your body. Notice the natural rhythm of your breath. Allow yourself to arrive fully. There is nowhere you need to go, nothing you need to accomplish, nothing you need to become. Simply allow yourself to be here now. Take a slow, deep breath in and a gentle breath out. With each breath, allow yourself to soften. Allow your mind to settle. Allow yourself to rest in the simplicity of this moment. As you settle into stillness, consider that there are moments in life when something opens within us. Moments when the noise becomes quiet, moments when striving softens, moments when we stop searching and simply remember. Perhaps you have experienced such moments before. Moments in nature, moments in meditation, moments of love, moments of awe. Moments when, for no particular reason, everything feels deeply okay. For a brief moment, the boundaries we usually perceive begin to soften. The endless stories of the mind become less convincing, and we touch something deeper, something peaceful, something spacious, something profoundly familiar. It is difficult to describe these moments with words because they are not ideas, they are experiences. Experiences of connection, experiences of wholeness, experiences of remembering who we are beneath the roles we play and the identities we carry. Take a slow breath in and a long breath out. Allow yourself to rest in the possibility that this deeper awareness is not something you must create. It is something you remember, something that has always been present beneath the surface. For much of our lives, we move through the world believing ourselves to be separate, separate from one another, separate from nature, separate from life itself, separate from the love, wisdom, and support we seek. And yet, if we look closely, separation begins to reveal itself as a kind of illusion. The breath moving through your body is shared with every living thing. The water within you has moved through oceans, rivers, clouds, and rain. The atoms that compose your body were forged in ancient stars. The thoughts you think have been shaped by countless relationships, experiences, and generations. You are not outside of life. You are life, a unique expression of the same creative force moving through everything. Take a moment to simply feel that, not as a concept, not as a philosophy, but as a possibility, a truth that can be sensed more than understood. Notice what happens when you release, even briefly, the need to defend a separate self, the need to prove yourself, the need to become more, the need to arrive somewhere other than here. Notice the spaciousness that emerges. Notice the freedom. This freedom is not the absence of responsibility. It is not the absence of challenge. It is not the absence of pain. Rather, it is the recognition that your deepest nature remains untouched by the changing circumstances of life. There is a place within you that remains whole, a place that remains connected, a place that remains free, even as experiences come and go, even as seasons change, even as life unfolds in unexpected ways. We'll take another slow breath. Allow yourself to rest in that deeper place. Imagine what life feels like when lived from this awareness, when connection becomes more important than separation, when presence becomes more important than striving, when trust becomes more natural than fear, when life is experienced not as something happening to you, but as something unfolding through you. Notice how expansive this feels. Notice how much energy is released when you no longer need to carry the weight of isolation. When you remember that you belong, when you remember that you are supported, when you remember that you are part of something infinitely larger than yourself. And yet, this is not the end of the journey, because life does not ask us to remain in the mountaintop experience forever. Life invites us back into relationships, back into responsibilities, back into work, back into family, back into joy and grief, back into uncertainty and wonder, back into the beautiful complexity of being human. The invitation is not to leave the world behind. The invitation is to return to it differently, to carry the remembrance with you, to bring the wisdom into everyday life, to embody what you have touched. This is the spiral. Life rarely moves in straight lines. We revisit familiar places, familiar emotions, familiar lessons, familiar challenges, again and again. At times, it may seem as though we are repeating ourselves, as though we are circling back, as though we have somehow returned to where we started. But the spiral teaches something different. You are never returning to exactly the same place. Each return happens from a new level of awareness, a new level of understanding, a new level of compassion. The lesson may look familiar, but you are not the same person meeting it. The relationship may feel familiar, but you are bringing new wisdom to it. The challenge may reappear, but your capacity to meet it has expanded. This is growth, not escaping life, not transcending humanity, but participating in it more consciously. Again and again, we forget. Again and again, we remember. Again and again, we contract. Again and again, we expand. Again and again, we lose our way. Again and again, we find ourselves. The spiral continues, and each turn deepens our understanding, deepens our compassion, deepens our capacity to love. Take a slow breath in and a gentle breath out. As this practice begins to come to a close, allow yourself to appreciate this moment of remembering, this touch point of alignment, this touch point of freedom, this touch point of connection, not as something fragile, not as something that can be lost, but as something that lives within you, a truth you can return to again and again, a compass that remains available even when life becomes busy, even when challenges arise, even when you forget. Because forgetting is part of the spiral too, and so is remembering. As you move forward from this practice, may you carry this awareness with you. May you meet life with greater openness, greater trust, greater presence. May you remember your connection to all living things. May you remember that separation is not the deepest truth. May you remember the wisdom that lives within you. And may you embrace every turn of the spiral with curiosity and courage. Take one final deep breath in and a long, complete breath out. Feel yourself supported. Feel yourself connected. Feel yourself alive. The journey continues. The spiral continues. And with each turn, life invites you deeper into freedom, deeper into wisdom, deeper into love. Welcome the next step and trust that you already carry everything you need for the path ahead.